students to do the project in various corporate. And then we actually do the competition that what they have done, how they can add value to the HR community as well as to the organization. Then we also do the HR Shadow the Leader, which is a part of Joy of Giving Day. We facilitate and we align one HR student with the HR industry people, and they will get to spend the whole day with them. So in that case, it's really great experience for students to hit the floor, because when they just join the organizations, they'll have what they want or what the company's expected out of us.
So the idea is to hit the road running, and that is what you think is the most beneficial part of the students' programs at NHRD. Another question for you, Zishan, this has got to do with asks. Youth nowadays are blamed of having a lot of asks. You cannot absolutely go through a conversation without saying, what's in it for me? So if you were to share some of those things that you would expect a setup like NHRD to do for you as a student, would you be good enough to share some of those?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we have got a lot of opportunities. The only point is that whether I will take it or not. Now, in coming days, we have planned so much activities, which is very exciting. To share few, there are certain experiential learning workshop which we are trying to figure out, so that the students should learn various competencies, not only with the theory classes, but arts like cooking and like martial arts, so that they get to know that, boss, everything what you do, you can learn.
Fantastic thought. Everything that you do, you can learn. Martial arts, let's all walk up from the stage over here, because that's a dangerous man to be around. But thank you so much for that one. We'll come back to you in a bit. I've got to ask you this, Jayant. It's got to do with, a setup like an NHRD takes a lot of commitment, I would imagine, from members, from people who really put it together, because like I said earlier, there's a day job and there's everything. Now, some of, the people, possibly like me, are a bit lazy. How really does one beat that? I mean, I do understand communities are born out of the shared passion for something, interest, so therefore it shouldn't be effort at all for you to come here. But nevertheless, there's always an engagement, a social commitment, some work-related conference, something happening. What is your mantra to make sure you are committed to the efforts of NHRD?
I think it's fairly simple. I came into NHRD through Harish, and Sudhish asked me to be part of the team. So I think I have a personal commitment to deliver on their belief that they have in me. So that is the only reason why you're committed and you're willing to spend the time.
That is the only reason. That doesn't really sound very... But I love the fact that you're candid. I was told to do it, so I'm doing it.
No, but if you don't deliver on it, right, in some ways, rather than doing it, you're kind of not living up to their beliefs.
Beliefs, absolutely.
That probably makes you go.
Absolutely. I think it's important to have great leaders, which really brings me to you, Sudhish. What would you say to some of us who are probably struggling a little bit, balancing it all? We want to really be committed to some of these activities. We want to make sure that we are there. Ashu, of course, is there every single Thursday, but some of us have trouble. How have you, and I remember when I spoke to Mr. Nair, he said that your leadership style was one of service, and he pointed that out. And, I thought that was amazing, because clearly one needs to be focused on the outside a little bit for this to really work out as the way it did. So in this 25th year, what advice would you, give to people who want to be committed?
So, I can only think of three things. Firstly, one should sign up for something like this only if one is able to commit time and do a good job. If we are not sure of that, then I don't think we should sign up. There were a few occasions earlier when people had asked me if I would be interested, but it was not the right time in my career to sign up for something like this. And once having signed up, there is no looking back. One has to deliver the best. So this is number one. Number two is, at the end of the day, for people like me, it's Mr. Premji who's paying my salary. NHRD doesn't, right? So my first commitment and loyalty is to the organization that I work for. But there is always a certain overflow. There is always some time available, if one plans it well, to serve the community. And this could be, by the religious discipline of after 6 o'clock I will focus on this, or weekends I will keep it for this, whatever, right? But there is a certain amount of time space and mental space, mind space that one has to make and say, look, this is what I will do. The third and the last thing is, winning 2 times the Best Chapter Award doesn't happen by accident. It's a hugely competed award, and 33 chapters in the country vie for it. And if you are an incumbent winner, it is even more difficult to win the second time. And if I look back and see, look, what is it that I did? I had a team with the right blend of thinkers and doers, people who would demonstrate a huge level of ownership. So I could just rest assured that, you assign a task, and then you could see how comfortably I was sitting here while, everything was going on like clockwork. And that happens only because you trust people, you don't micromanage them, and leave it to their devices to figure it out.
Jayant, one more question for you, and this has got to do with you. What really you think is the secret? What do you think is the secret of these 2 consecutive wins? Sudesh has his point of view. I'm sure you have yours, and you've been at the forefront and the helm of things, made things really happen. So what is that secret ingredient? If you've seen Kung Fu Panda, you know what we're talking about.
So I think the second time we won the award, each of the events we did, one of the questions we asked is, why should a member of NHRD come and attend this event? Why should a member of NHRD come and attend this particular event? So all the events that we have planned, we've been based on that. The showcase, again, we said it's going to be a big challenge. No other chapter has done an event of this magnitude. So we said, do you want to take the challenge? We said, we'll take it. There's no looking back. So I think it was very difficult for other chapters to compete with us simply because of all the accomplishments that we did in this year.
Right.
But sustaining this is going to be difficult. So the amount of time commitment required is just enormous.
Absolutely. One question, and this is really something, from a person who's like a fly on the wall, I consider myself one of them. This is my first ever, NHRD event that I'm coming to, and it's great that I'm able to be part of a celebration. But I was curious to find out, because this is a question that I think a lot of budding young professionals might have. When you come to a large gathering like this one, and part of the whole, plan is to also network. Ashu, I'm going to ask you this one. How do you really do that? Because I see a lot of younger people struggling. The old ones are familiar, your gang and your meeting up, etc. The younger ones are usually, dithering around in the corner, probably grabbing a biscuit here and wondering, oh, can I make a move on, somebody? Can I ask them something? What advice would you give them? You've been pretty regular, so I'm asking you.
And I think that's still a challenge if you ask me. I know I'm taking a slightly tangential route to your question, but I still think we don't get enough youngsters in these NHRD meetings. I know it from my personal experience where, whether it's in First Source or in Red Bus, I used to tell my team, look, why are you guys not attending NHRD meetings? And they all seem keen, but when it comes down to it, they're not here. So the answer to your question in a sense is there are not enough youngsters around. And for those youngsters who are around, I think it's just being bold and just, it's a very informal kind of a setup, especially, the half an hour before the session starts, everybody's around, and I think you just have to be bold and, walk up to people and say, hey, I want to learn something from you or have some question to ask. I think there's no point in being shy. And I think a lot of us are shy, but I think, I'm not sure how you break that shyness, but I think it's just, asking the first question, going out there and asking the first question, yeah.
Fair enough. And Michelle, I think that's where you probably come in. It's a pet subject, social media. I think, how does one endure? What do you think one must do at NHRD if one were to look at the 26th year and probably creating some path-breaking events for that year? How do you think it probably, engage with the youth a little more?
So now at this era, if you're looking at it, where Generation Y is talking about mobile technology, social media, and learning. So I think with the last 2 years having such great events every month, month after month, it's probably the next events to look at it and focus on the Generation Y and with the technology keeping in mind, so looking at more events which has a balance of both so that the next generation is involved in it. Yeah.
While you're at it, which was your favorite event of this 25th milestone year? There have been 25 of them. There's got to be a pet one that you have.
Picking one is very difficult, but I think the Google and the Amazon one were the great ones. the Google and the Amazon one, the companies coming in, everybody is always fascinated about these organizations, right? So knowing them and knowing their practices and, what they do, coming across at a platform like NHRD and sharing the details was, I think, great.
On a final note, I'm just going to put everybody in a tight spot. I mean, I've been given the role of Karan Johar in Coffee with Karan, so I thought, why not? I don't have a hamper over here, but I might take the TV and give it to the winner. I don't know who to, or his phone. He's worried that I'll take his phone and give it away. But since we are, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us exactly, 25 years, I thought, why not 5 words from each of these people who've been part of making this success story for us today to celebrate. If there were 5 words that each of you would come up with, that really encapsulates all that NHRD, the Bangalore chapter, really stands for, what would that be? And we'll start with A, Ashu.
Learning.
5 each.
5 each. Exciting, learning, passion, showcase, knowledge.
Fantastic. What about you, Michelle? This gives a lot of advantage to all of the other 3 who are waiting and probably thinking of their 5 right now.
Difficult, but okay, let me try. Interesting, knowledge, networking, fun, family.
This is a tough one. A commitment, a lot of hard work. So that's 5 words, 4 words.
Cheating not allowed, 1 word.
Hard work, commitment, and then passion, and then delivering value.
Okay, fantastic. I think that was great. Zishan, what about you?
I would say experiencing, and for me it's more over learning. So I would say the rest 4 words would be learning.
Learning. Great, actually. I mean, coming from someone who's part of the student initiatives, yes, certainly, yes, that makes sense. Sudesh, last but not the least.
Vibrant, strong, quality and quantity, that makes it 5.
And is not allowed.
And very progressive.
Very progressive. 6, I'll take 6. And that was, by the way, the team that has really, helped put it all together. Let's have a big round of applause for all of them here. Thank you so much. Nobody gets anything. That was a
Sheetal,
trick.
thank you very much. I don't know if this is the right moment, but there is a video, I understand, of the 25 events.
Yes.
Probably the MCs are going to announce it. Yeah, fine. Thank you.
We are from Ashok Leyland, and this is one of the best HR initiative.
Special is in our own quiet way, we make a difference to the lives of so many people. We move them across from a rural area to a meaningful career.
The story that we are showcasing today is about our diversity and inclusion story.
The highlights of this best practice today.
So we are talking about, how did we go about doing a culture survey, and how is it that we made possible, becoming a profitable organization by 2030.
So just wanted to ask you, what is that this stall making so special for all of us?
We are not talking about one innovation. We are talking about business impact of around 2% of salary cost to revenue, and that's through a configuration of innovations.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you history recreated through Mr. Kanta Risa's sand art.
Guys, sit by your new partner. Sit, sit, sit. Sit by your partner.
Yes.
All right. Sit by your new partner. Now, we are going to practice peer coaching. In peer coaching, you are not here to judge your partner. All of you to visit my website, www.marshallgoldsmith.com. How many of you have visited my Marshall Goldsmith Library website before? Many of you. I give all of my material away. All of my material you may copy, download, share, duplicate, use in business, use in church, use in nonprofit, use any way you want to use it. Yeah. My basic attitude toward life is we're all going to become equally dead. So we might as well do a little bit of good here. Now what are our goals today? Number one, we're going to learn from 6 sources, 6, why the key factor in positive change is not the coach or the program or the activity, it's the person. I'm going to illustrate how very few of you ever understand this point. Are you ready? Is this a group of high character, ethics, and integrity, yes or no? He says yes. I'm going to test that right now. I'm going to ask the group a question, a troublesome question, a personal question, an embarrassing question. If the answer is yes, you must raise your hand. And by the way, HR groups are chronically experts at failing this test. Are you ready? How many people in this room are still stupidly attempting to change the behavior of a husband, wife, or partner who has no interest in changing? Come on, get your hands up. She couldn't wait to raise her hand. Look at this woman. Her hand was leaping. How many years have you been attempting to change this rascal? How many years? How many? How many years? Oh, it's him. You're trying to change him. How many years have you been trying to change him? 23 wasted years. Look up here. Go like this. Hands. You have to do your hand. Let it go or let him go. What have you?
Thank you, panel members, for that wonderful discussion. Thanks, Sheetal, for moderating the session. Next up, it's rewards time. There is relentless effort that goes into making a successful event, and successful events over a year requires even more effort. It's indeed hard toil and perseverance. We'd like to invite Jayant to please take this part of the event forward. That is the rewards and recognition session. Over to you, Jayant.
Thanks, Siddharth. Thanks, Prakriti. When I was in the panel, Sheetal kept asking what is the secret behind the chapter's success for the last 2 years. So I'm going to share the secret with you now. So there are 6 people who have been in the back end who are not committee members, who have just done everything beyond our wildest dreams to make all the events happen for NHRD over the last year or so. Specifically with the showcase, there were a couple of people who have really contributed significantly to the cause of the chapter. With NHRD, again, with anything that we want to do, we start off with a very, very big dream. And then we say that you've got to execute all of this. We're going to give you 2 lakhs to execute. And there's only one person who's a go-to man for NHRD. I think he's been supporting NHRD for the last 20 years, who consistently delivers what we want at a price which is unbelievable. I want to present the first award, the Exceptional Contributor Award, to Gopalakrishna Gubbi. Gubbi is not here, so I'm going to invite Anuradha on stage to come and receive the award. And to give away the awards, I'm going to invite Harish, Devarajan, the past presidents, to come and give the awards. I'm going to request both Harish and Anuradha to be on the stage. Sure.
Gopal has not come, and this is an honor to receive an honor on his behalf. Harish will absolutely agree that somebody like Gopal Gubbi is not pillar, he is a prana. Invisible, light, always there, always flowing, and always, always contributing. Harish, you will agree with me this. Thank you so much.
Just to add to what Anuradha said, all the arrangements, the food and beverage, the logistics for even today's event has been done by Gubbi. He was here till 6:30 to take care of everything, and he's gone to attend a son's school function. So that's the level of commitment the guy has. I'm also going to invite Sudesh to be on stage to give out some of the awards. The next award is, there are several vendors that we work with to execute all of our programs. There is one vendor which has really been working with NHRD for the last 5-6 years. The guy who runs this company always has a smile on his face. For a lot of our events, he hasn't slept for 72 hours to execute